project that started last month. Last month, I was looking in one of my drawers of fabric and I found a whole stack of these vintage handkerchiefs. And I thought, why are they in a drawer where nobody can see them? What could I make with them that would celebrate their uniqueness and their beauty? So I decided after a sleepless night that I would take 8 handkerchiefs, 4 in the front and 4 in the back, and I would make a simple top. And that is where this top came from. And I love it, but I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know how it was going to come together, so I didn't use my vintage handkerchiefs. I actually used a bundle that when I pulled them out today to do this tutorial, it actually says 9, 15, 17. Yes, I have been holding on to these for that long. So this was a bundle from Amazon. I did not want to use my vintage ones until I knew that this pattern was going to work. So I pulled out these cheaper ones from Amazon, which I have a link to some similar to it, and I will post that in the comments. Remember, I don't make anything. I'm not an influencer. But if you're interested, they were super cheap. Like, I don't know, 20 to 30 of them for a couple bucks. So I think there's even one that's 45 of them for like 20 bucks. So you can make a lot of shirts with that. Do the math. So that's where I started with this pack, and that's every one of these handkerchiefs, and they are still very cute. Look how cute. And the ones I saw on Amazon now are even cuter. But today, I think I'm actually going to use some of my vintage. I was originally collecting them because I thought I wanted to make curtains out of them for this room, but I couldn't collect enough because this room has 5 huge windows. So then I thought, well, maybe I'd make a handkerchief skirt, and that might still be coming. But we're going to start with the handkerchief top because it's just 8 little handkerchiefs. These are 10 inch by 10 inch. Now that's this size. Now I have the larger ones as well, which are gorgeous, but they're a little bigger. I don't know. These are probably an extra inch, maybe 2, so they're probably 12 by 12, and such pretty ones in here. These ones may end up being a skirt. We'll see. So the hardest thing to do is to pick out the 8 handkerchiefs you would like to use, because there are just so many pretty ones, and I like to mix them up. Now, if you noticed in this prototype that I made, some of them had a scalloped edge. Sorry for the shaking, you know I have a tremor. And some of them have a straight edge. Now, for this application with this shirt, we're going to sew right on top. We're not going to put the pretty sides to pretty sides together and hide the seams. We're going to celebrate the seams because some of these seams are scalloped. So we are going to highlight those. So pick out some. It doesn't matter if they all have scallops or not. Some of these do, some of them don't. And then we're going to lay them out so that you can really see the scallopy edges, okay? And you also want them to be pretty close to the same size. They don't have to be exact because some of my vintage ones are not all exactly the same size, but you do want them very close, okay? So pick out your 8 handkerchiefs. I'm going to do the same, and then we will meet back here. Real quick, before I pick out my handkerchiefs, I forgot to show you. Did you see my new label? I know I'm shaking. I made that label. If you would like to know how to make labels like that for your custom creations, let me know in the comments and I will do a tutorial on that as well. So those are my new labels. I'm kind of happy. So I ended up with 10. I will show them to you now, and then we'll see which ones I'm going to end up using. So this is one. Look at that edge. So pretty. Hope that one works. This one I like because it has just about all of the colors that I'm using in it. So I'm thinking that'll be a good blender to pull them all together. This one I love for the pop of color, that blue. It doesn't have the white background like most of them do. It has that pop of blue. This one, I love all those tulips and that scallop edge. Beautiful. This one is pink and blue, which I like, and it has the straight edges, which you need those as well. This one is just so cute and delicate with that circle in the center. That'll be pretty. This one is a maybe. It's pretty, but it's not as pretty as the others, if I'm being honest. This one I love with the blue again, trying to get some different colors in. And then this one with the pretty roses. And oh, this one I think will be so gorgeous on a shoulder, just like that. So those are the ones that I picked. So you use yours, do what you want to do. Think about whether you want your scallops up near your neck or a pretty scallop at the bottom. You may be using all scallop or all straight edge, but whatever you want to do, put your handkerchiefs together and arrange them so that you think they are how you want them. And then we're just going to run little pins to keep them where they are. And this time I am using pins, not clips, because we are sewing right over top. So I'm going to be using pins. I hate using pins. I always stick myself with pins, but that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I hope you can see this. What I did is I pinned these bottom two together and I pinned them pretty close. I have to watch because with the scallop, I had to make sure it was still connecting to the fabric of the other straight edge one. So this is going to be the bottom, if you can see that, and have it all pinned together. And then with the top, I don't know whether you can see this, with the top, I started halfway down because I want this to flip over and give it a cute little collar. It'd be really nice to have two scallops up here, but I really want this one on my top. So I'm gonna have one scallop, one straight. And so I just started partway down, and I'm going to sew this one with a straight line here and this one with the straight line here. And I might even, this one I think I'm gonna go around the scallops. This one I won't have to, but this one has bigger scallops. And if I don't sew around those scallops, then they're going to turn in anytime I wash it or even just when I wear it. So this one I'll just do a straight line down. This one I'm gonna go around those scallops as close as I can. And I'm not sewing them together yet, but I did need to figure out the neckline, exactly how I wanted it to fall. Okay, so this is what we have so far. This is gonna be the top. Do you see it? And it's sewn together about 3/4 of the way down, I'd say, maybe-ish. And then this one is going to be the bottom. So it'll attach then at the bottom. And they are sewn together. This one actually has a double stitch, and then this one just has a single because this one was much easier to sew. So I just pinned right across here, making sure that where all four connect in the center, that I have one of them overlapping, and then just pinned the rest of the way across, and we're just going to run a stitch right across there. And just like that, the front of our top is ready to go. Now you're going to do the same thing for the back. Lay out your 4 handkerchiefs, do your top 2, then sew your top 2 to your bottom 2 once you have those 2 sewn together. And this time when you are sewing, sew it the whole way up for all 4. So you have a complete square instead of having a square with a little collar. Okay? Couple things to note. I have the top of the back sewn together. And again, what I did is I first just stitched it down straight, and then I went around the scallops. That was the worst part, honestly. And I only do that for the big scallops. And then I have the bottom done as well. Now, when I was doing the bottom, they weren't exactly the same size. So what I did is I made sure that the bottom was going to match up, and I didn't worry so much about the top. See how one's a little bit taller than the other one? Because I'm going to hide that underneath where we connect them. So I'm going to put that at the top of the bottom. There's an oxymoron for you. And then I'm going to, when I join them, that will be covered, okay? And also they are not the same width. That won't matter either, the way we're going to sew them together. Almost done. So this next step is going to be very specific to you. What I did when I did this one, the prototype, is I went in 4 inches from the corner on each side. And that, to me, that was a little wide on my shoulders. You could see bra straps and stuff. So I'm going to go like 4.5, 5 this time. And then the other thing I did, this is going to be our armhole. where the two top on each side. And then what I did is I just ran down halfway and left a little opening at the bottom for it to lay flat. So super easy. It's like 4 inches here and like 6 inches here is all you're going to sew now on each side. But that is going to be totally up to you. What I like to do, because you have to make sure you can get your head through that hole. So I took some of my quilting pins and I pinned ugly side to ugly side. And so I had, see these pins? I went in 4.5 inches there, and my armhole was just a little bit wide just whenever I did it to the second one. So I went up just an inch, and I'm going to have just so an inch from there and then down to about here, and leave a little kick pleat at the bottom. And then, like I said, at the top, I went more with like 4.5 just to give it a little bit more coverage on the top. And then I tried it on over my head to make sure that this is going to fit over my big head. So you're going to want to use pins first, and safety pins so you don't stab yourself. So grab some safety pins and then figure out what you want to do. And then it's literally just zit, zit, and you're done. So I'm going to go zit, zit, and then we'll see what it looks like. And here's the finished look. Can you believe that this top started out as a collection of vintage handkerchiefs sitting in a drawer, and now each one tells its own story and gets a new life? So what do you think? Would you wear a handkerchief top?